Hello everyone, Miss Riley here. I hope you're all feeling creative today. We are going to continue our stop motion animation unit by diving into one of my favorite parts, character construction. Everyone, please follow along as I take you through this slideshow. We will be going over the technical details of how to create your characters. If at any time you disconnect from this class due to technical issues, please know that I've already sent this session slide to your emails. Now let's begin.
First off, what are stop-motion animation puppets? Stop-motion animation puppets are like regular puppets. The difference is that a picture is taken after each small movement is made. When all the pictures are compiled together, they create the illusion that the model is moving by itself. Today, we are going to be making paper stop-motion animation puppets. This is one of the easier ways to make stop-motion animation puppets, but also very creative and fun. Here are some examples of paper stop-motion animation puppets. And here are some examples of paper stop-motion animations. This is a little girl recording a stop-motion animation with a paper puppet. Each time after she moves the character, she takes a picture. So what are the steps to making a stop-motion animation puppet? We will need cardstock, coloring utensils, brass fasteners, scissors, an X-Acto knife, and a cutting mat. You have to think about which parts of the puppet you want to move to be able to tell your story. Typically, these are the arms, legs, and waist. You draw your character in segments or parts so that each segment can move independently. For example, an arm might have two segments and the segments would overlap at the elbow. At the elbow, a pin will be placed so that the character can move. Now this part is really important. Be sure to draw the parts that you want to move at least as wide as your finger. Also draw those parts longer than you normally would so that the pieces can overlap without being too short. Here are some examples of characters segmented. Lastly, we will be using X-Acto knives to make the little holes for the pins to go through. Let's go over some quick safety tips for using an X-Acto knife. Number 1, point the knife only at your paper. Number 2, only use the knife to cut holes for the pins to go through. Use scissors to cut the rest of your character out. Number 3, cut only on a cutting mat. And number 4, put your cap back on your X-Acto knife when you're done. So let's do a quick demonstration. I'm going to show you how to put together the arms of a stop-motion animation character. Alright, so I have all of my arm pieces here. I'm making a little cat arm, so I got my paw, bottom part of the arm, and top part of the arm. First thing, when you're coloring, using color pencils in particular, it looks really nice if you layer more than one color over top. Let me show you what I mean by that. I already used my lilac color, so I'm just going to do a quick pink over top, which I think will look really nice. You can go in different directions. It's okay to go outside of the lines because we're just going to cut this out anyways. So I got that. Now, something really important. Am I going to use my X-Acto knife or my scissors to cut out the big parts? That's right, please use your scissors. They're faster, they're safer. I'm going to cut and turn this. The X-Acto knife is mainly for, I'm just going to use a little bit more pink. The X-Acto knife is just for you making the holes. And the only exception is if you have itty bitty tiny pieces in between where the X-Acto knife makes more sense. Here's a different monster arm. It had this little gap here. So using the X-Acto knife there, that made sense. And why am I using a cutting mat? I got a sticky one right now too. I'm obviously using a cutting mat so I don't cut up my desk here. I have my 3 pieces you can now kind of, let's see, oh, that's the bottom. Layer them over top like this. And do you remember why we have to make them slightly longer? That's right, because this overlapping process, which makes them much more stronger, is going to shorten the arm overall. Next, I'm going to make little marks right where I'd like my pins to go. So it's going to move there and there. Now it's time for my X-Acto knife. When I cut on my little circles here, I'm going to actually make an asterisk. Does anyone know what an asterisk is? That's right, it's basically like an X with another line through it. And when I make my little asterisk marks, I'm cutting each line like 3 to 4 times. And this is because I am cutting through 2 layers. So I want to make sure that, do a little bit more here just to make sure. Make sure that my pin will go through both layers. Get my little pins out here. I call them pins, but they're technically brass fasteners. You're going to take your brass fasteners and use about 2. Now you can put the pin in, you know, 1 at a time or both at a time, whichever works for you. Ooh, this is really sticky, man. Take this, put it through, make sure the little button part's up top, and you're going to bend back the legs. There you go, got my wrist, got my arm. Oh, little boo-boo here, see? That's what happens if you don't make it long enough. So I can actually make that better. I'm going to make another new mark over here, a little farther away from the edge. See, I went too far, and that's why. And I can also put a little piece of tape on the back. Take this, put it over like that, just go through the new hole. There we go. Pinch it back. You can even cut these things if they kind of get on your nerves, but watch out because they can fly in your eyes. So be real safe with that. Got my arm here. So here's 2 examples. Got my monster arm. I wanted this one to be a little bit shorter, like kind of like cutesy, chibi, if you will. That's why it looks like that. And here is a completely finished character. You can see she has pins at the elbow, the wrists, the thighs, the knees, the ankles, and then one right here for the waist. Yep. And that's it, basically. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. But I'm totally excited for us all to get started. I'm going to see what you make.
Overall, this lesson is very successful at reaching students who may have reading comprehension IEPs. It involves many visual elements, including a slideshow of the step-by-step process, a visual demonstration, and both written and verbal instructions. As far as students who have a math IEP, not much math is really involved to begin with. Differentiation for more advanced students may include more dynamic character creation, like extra pieces of the character that moves, and animated background elements like animated trees or clouds. For students that may be struggling with drawing, methods of simplifying the character, like breaking the character down into shapes, may be employed. Students can also use a hole puncher if the student is not cleared to use an X-Acto knife. Overall, this is a very flexible and fun lesson that creates very memorable experiences and reaches very large audiences.